The idea of an international court is a globalist dream. It destroys the concept of national sovereignty. It implies that there's some higher order than just a country itself. It's often used only against progressive enemies of the progressive left. You haven't seen prosecutions of Kim Jong-un of North Korea, for example. It's really a way to do what the United Nations does symbolically by criticizing Israel or the United States. Well, the ICC had an announcement recently. In fact, they said that they want to prosecute Israel's democracy, especially the personage of Benjamin Netanyahu. Here, take a look at their prosecutor, Karim Khan, outlining the case, and listen to what he says. He says that Israel is merely a territory, but Palestine is already a nation state. He sort of gives away his bias, doesn't he? Take a look.
I can also confirm today that I have reasonable grounds to believe, on the basis of evidence collected and examined by my office, that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international crimes committed on the territory of the State of Palestine from at least the 8th of October 2023. The crimes include starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, willfully causing great suffering, serious injury to body or health or cruel treatment, willful killing or murder, and intentionally directing attacks against a civilian population, as well as crimes against humanity of extermination and or murder, persecution, and allegations of crimes of committing other inhumane acts.
I suppose it's an outrageous thing to say, but no more outrageous than what goes on in the United Nations every day, or that many left-wing politicians around the world have been saying in the last 7 months of the most intensive anti-Semitic moment since the Holocaust. The attack on October 7th was the most violent pogrom since the Holocaust, so why shouldn't the anti-Semitism in the public sphere be that way? By the way, look at this new video released by the Israeli government. This is what happened when Hamas terrorists seized young women. Caution, this is terrifying to watch. You may wish to close your eyes if you are at all sensitive. Take a look at this new video. I want to remind you, this was video taken by Hamas themselves. I want to remind you what sparked this whole thing. Take a look.
يا كلاب والله لا ندعس عليكم يا كلاب يا عم يا شباب يا عم بالراحه يا عم صلوا على صوروا Sit down. ولك اخواتنا ماتوا من وراكم وانا لم اخذكم كلكم.
That's what you mean?
What?
I don't know what.
Again.
Who you want to call? What?
Number again.
Gonna call my friend with Gaza. Why?
I swear. What?
Where from?
No.
Well, around the world, there was reaction to Karim Khan's decision to seek arrest warrants for Netanyahu. And I think that was the purpose of it. I don't know if there actually will be an arrest of Netanyahu. I don't think he will travel to a country where that would be possible. And I don't think there are many countries where that would be possible. But 3 countries actually said, yeah, we support this. And 3 countries actually took the opportunity to decide that they officially recognize Palestine as a country. Spain said so, Norway, and Ireland. And that's interesting. Ireland, of course, I was just there for a day a couple of weeks ago, and it's not there to talk about Palestine, but I think they think of violent rebellion against the United Kingdom, so they see a kind of kinship with the Palestinians, but I don't think that's the right analogy. What I learned when I was in Ireland is that Ireland is the indigenous home of the Irish people. They are the original dwellers there, and they should have their happy homeland. And Israel is the indigenous people of the Holy Land in that part of the world. Christianity came much later, and Islam came centuries after that. If you want an analogy for the Irish people, a small country fighting against larger battles, larger armies, Israel would be the analog, the original indigenous people. Spain is an interesting choice of a country to support Palestine, because Spain itself has a breakaway region called Catalonia. I wonder what would happen if Israel recognized Catalonia as an independent country. And Norway was the third one. All three of these countries were notoriously neutral or even sympathetic to Nazis during the Second World War. In fact, Ireland went so far as to sign a condolence on the death of Adolf Hitler himself. So I suppose Netanyahu shouldn't travel to those three countries because the possibility of an arrest there would be real. Not that I think he would plan to travel there in any event. But what about here in Canada? What was the reaction to the ICC announcing they wanted to arrest the democratically elected leaders of a democratic country that is fighting a war in reaction to a horrific terrorist attack? Well, Justin Trudeau, Melanie Joly, his foreign minister, and others managed to avoid that question for an entire day. It was quite something. They were just silent on the matter. The United States came out firmly against the declaration of Israel as a pariah state. Canada, allegedly the closest ally to the United States, didn't have anything to say, just was silent. I mean, they could have endorsed it, they could have opposed it, but they were racked by indecision, partly because I think they don't know how to play this with their domestic liberal political battles. Here's Mohammed Faki, who is really Justin Trudeau's kitchen cabinet foreign minister. He's an anti-Semitic extremist who has really helped open doors in the Muslim community in Canada for Justin Trudeau, and Trudeau returns the favor. He gave him an Order of Canada, etc. He believes that Israel should basically be destroyed. He made a public announcement that he doesn't want any Zionist money going to his chain of restaurants. I've only been once, and I don't intend to go back. On the other hand, you still have a couple of Jews left in the Liberal Party, including the disgraceful Yaara Sachs and Anthony Housefather. So how would Trudeau thread the needle here? Because if he supports the ICC's plan to arrest Netanyahu, he'll win the support of the Mohammed Fakis and the Omar al-Jabrs and the Ahmed Hudsons of the world, but he would probably lose the support of Anthony Housefather and Yaara Sachs. And he doesn't want to lose either, but you've got to decide. Well, after a day, this is what he came up with. Now listen very carefully to what he says and doesn't say. This was from earlier today.
Obviously, the International Criminal Court is independent in its work, and I've said from the very beginning how important it is that everyone respect and abide by international law. What I will say is troubling, though, is the sense of an equivalency between the democratically elected leaders of Israel and the bloodthirsty terrorists that lead up Hamas. I don't think that's helpful.
You'll notice that he focuses his outrage on the fact that the ICC also said that Hamas is a terrorist organization, which of course it is, and he was raging at the false equivalency that the ICC treats a democracy and a terrorist group. Okay, thank you very little. I appreciate that, but what do you have to say about the ICC itself and their decision? So while Trudeau raged against the false equivalency, a false equivalency is not a call to arrest someone. What about the call to arrest Israel's prime minister? Well, if you listen clearly, Trudeau never said he was against it. In fact, he clearly said that Canada needs to respect the ICC. Trudeau actually agreed with the plan to arrest Netanyahu. He just misdirected attention to his rage about the false equivalency.